Scroll of Seshat. I, the one who writes what you think is random. For the ones who feel watched by patterns every time coincidence repeats 3 times. Before libraries were built, before priests pretended they invented counting, there was a quiet goddess standing at the edge of every beginning. They called her Seshat, Lady of the Measuring Cord, Mistress of the House of Books, she who writes what will actually matter. When kings wanted to build a temple, they did not call the warriors, they did not call the treasurers, they called her, because if Seshat didn't measure it, it didn't really exist. The first legend says Seshat's earliest scroll was not filled with the names of rulers, but with the tiny choices everyone swore didn't count. The text you didn't send, the apology you almost gave, the idea you wrote in your notes app and never spoke aloud, the moment you chose to be kind when cruelty would have been easier. She called this book the Ledger of Almost. In it, she tracked the energy of half-moves, the half-truths, the would-have, should-have, nearly there steps that bend a lifetime quietly. The world is not shaped mainly by grand speeches and crowns. It is shaped by small choices repeated until the pattern is undeniable. So when people complained that their life suddenly changed, Seshat only raised an eyebrow and turned a few pages back. The measuring cord and the lie of accidents. When a temple was founded, Seshat came with a measuring cord. She stretched it between stars and earth, between idea and stone, between I want this, and I'm actually doing this. They called the ritual stretching the cord, but secretly it was about this. Does your vision line up with your actual behavior? Every time a leader said, we will build a place of justice, Seshat quietly checked how they treated their workers, how they handled criticism, what they did with the poor when no statue was being carved. If the cord didn't match, she recorded the misalignment. Because Seshat's law is brutal and simple. You cannot build a temple of truth on a foundation of convenient lies. The math will eventually show. She is the goddess of architecture of reality, not fantasy, blueprints of integrity, not aesthetics. There is a story whispered in the back shelves. Seshat keeps a library not only of what is done, but of what a soul came here to attempt. Not just destiny as a fixed script, but as potential. Branches of, if you heal this, you'll open this. Lines of, if you keep repeating that, you'll loop here again. This library holds the patterns you inherited, the assignments you agreed to, the contracts you outgrew, the timelines you refused because your self-doubt was louder than your calling. Seshat doesn't punish, she documents. I am not your judge, she says. I am your mirror and ink. When you feel like life is repeating the same lesson with different faces, you're not cursed. You're inside one of Seshat's highlighted pages. There's a reason this goddess doesn't get discussed much. She ruins the excuse, I didn't know what I was doing, because her magic is exactly that. She tracks every time you did know and ignored it. The gut feeling you overrode, the red flag you laughed off, the dream that told you clearly leave, but you stayed to be polite, loyal, or scared. She isn't petty, she's precise. Seshat teaches, you are always being briefed by your own soul. You just mute the notification. When people say, why didn't anyone warn me? Seshat quietly opens a scroll of past intuitions, synchronicities, repeating signs, conversations where the truth slipped out and you hurried to cover it. The warning was there. She archived it. Seshat wears a strange emblem on her head, a 7-pointed rosette with an inverted crescent. The scholars argue, the scroll keepers debate, but esoteric lore whispers. The 7 points are the 7 main chances a soul gets to course correct in each major cycle. Not just chakras, not just planets, but 7 deep invitations. 1, to stop lying to yourself. 2, to leave a place you've outgrown. 3, to choose healing instead of performance. 4, to tell the truth about what you actually want. 5, to accept that you are bigger than your role. 6, to release a loyalty that is killing you. 7, to step into the work your spirit signed up for instead of the life others assigned you. The crescent below the rosette is the bowl that catches realization. Insight with no container, Seshat notes, will evaporate in a week. So she urges you to journal, plan, schedule, structure the mystical into the practical. If you don't, the epiphany becomes a memory instead of a blueprint. Seshat and you, in the age of overload. In this era of nonstop information, Seshat would not be impressed by how many facts you can hoard. She would ask, how much of this have you actually integrated into action, behavior, and design? Because the house of books she runs is not for trivia, it's for transformation. In now time, Seshat is present when you feel a strong pattern and say, I've seen this before. You realize 3 different people just told you the same lesson in 1 week. You keep drawing the same tarot card, hearing the same phrase, dreaming the same theme, and a part of you whispers, okay, I get it. I'll finally listen. That whisper, her pen scratching your name into a new chapter. Working with Seshat energy, without fake rituals. If you want to walk with this quiet goddess of receipts, her scroll is simple but not soft. 1, write it down. Your patterns, your visions, your deals with yourself. Stop pretending you'll remember. The act of writing is a spell of commitment. 2, measure what you claim. If you say, I value my peace, but your calendar is chaos, Seshat will gently drag you. Let her. Adjust. 3, track your almost. Notice all the micro moves. Did you scroll instead of creating? Stay instead of leave? Agree instead of tell the truth? None of this is neutral. It's architecture. 4, follow the repeating symbol. If a number, animal, deity, or phrase keeps chasing you, assume Seshat has highlighted it. Sit with it. Ask, what are you trying to get me to admit? At the bottom of one of her oldest scrolls, there is a line written so small that only the desperate and the sincere ever find it. You were never being ignored by the divine. You were being documented. When you are ready, I will show you the blueprint you have been building in secret with every yes and every no. That is Seshat. Not loud, not flashy, but absolutely essential to anyone serious about truth, destiny, and design. She is the architect of your actual life, not the fantasy version. And now that you've read her scroll, she will take that into account.
Universal Currency Receipt Architect Musician 36111027, The Graceful Whisperer, our C-Star, Devalan Orrin.
To our beautiful collective, from our day ones to every new soul joining this journey, we love and appreciate you deeply. You've turned this space into so much more than a community, you've made it a family. Thank you, truly. Your presence, your energy, and even the smallest acts of kindness have the power to shift the compass for many in ways unseen but deeply felt. Here's to each of you, all new and the many more to come. We're just getting started and we're so grateful you're here with us. With love and infinite appreciation from the collective of Shaman Ahll.